Right then, let's go. The England One Cap podcast. We're back. It's been a while, but that doesn't matter. We're back now and back with a vengeance. My name, Robert Prendergast. Your name?
Callum Shaw, and it's great to be back, mate. Great to be doing this again. So been busy, boys, but get the ball back rolling. Talk about some one caps as we do best.
Talk about someone. People have been messaging me all the time saying they've been saying, "Can you do a Fikayo Tomori episode?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, but now I can't do one because now he's a two cap. And everyone's like, "Hey, how about you do a Sam Johnston episode?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, good idea." But now I can't because now he's a two cap. So it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, we're in disarray at the minute. We're losing one caps. Like they're going out of fashion.
Well, we've only got one less because we gained one in the form of Patrick Bamford.
Oh, have we not done a pod since that? No, we probably haven't.
No, we're not. We actually haven't.
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah. Something we said would happen. If anyone doubts it, we got the text message. We said Patrick Bamford is guaranteed to be a one cap.
I think he's got a great chance of staying at one cap as well. I hope he does. He's great.
Did you see the game?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
He wasn't great, was he?
No, he wasn't. I don't think anyone was particularly great that game. There wasn't much service going in. It was very much, he wasn't that great. First time nerves. Could be only time nerves, but we'll see.
We'll see. Personally, I think he's going to stay at one cap. I like the guy, but actually, I would like him even more if he stays at one cap. I mean, we'll do an episode on him.
Yeah. That'll be the day.
Well, speaking of English strikers who played once for England against Andorra, let's think about our guest today, who is. Most of these players we talk about are just an England one cap, yeah? This guy isn't an England one cap. This guy is the England one cap. He goes by the name of David Nugent.
Well, it's a name that should never play for England. It's a League One, League Two journeyman name at most, if he's lucky.
I mean,
David Nugent.
And I get carried away and I start slandering the people we're meant to be talking, but praising on this podcast. But I read through this guy's career and I'm like, the question isn't whether he should have played for England. It's whether he ever should have played in the Premier League. You know, I just don't think he's.
I know, yeah.
Okay, well, actually, normally start at the beginning. I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. When he played for England, he was in the Championship. Preston.
Yes, Preston. Yeah, Preston.
Got 15 goals that year.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah, and the season before that, he only scored 10 goals. And Preston got to the playoff semis. We beat him, just saying. And he only scored 10 goals in a full season. So,
because I was like, oh wow, he must have banged in like 25 goals that year in the Championship. And I looked, I was just like, 50. That doesn't make sense.
I know, because the thing is, if you're playing Championship and you're a striker and you get an England call up, you've got to be at least 20 goals a season consistently for 2 years minimum.
Yeah.
If maybe even more than that, you've got to be properly best striker in that division by far, and he just wasn't. he just simply wasn't. That year he got the one cap. They didn't even. I think they finished 7th or 8th. Preston. They weren't even playoffs, and he only scored 15 goals. So, it's such a weird one.
I think it's mad. Ivan Toney didn't get an England call up last year because he got like just shy 30, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the Championship, and
yeah, it's bizarre. Preston seem to love him, but I've seen David Nugent play so many times, but the only time that I really remember is just after the one cap, and they had all these big banners with like his face on, being like one man, one cap, one goal. I just remember a massive banner with that. It was crazy, and he was bang average that game. So sums it up really.
Yeah, I watched the compilation of his goals from that season, and I'll tell you what, some of them did bang. To be honest, there was a good variety of goals.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was actually surprised by how good some of these goals were. But England, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Beginning of his career, well, he was at Liverpool Academy for a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Even though, go on.
I was just going to say he's born in Merseyside, and I'm sure you were going to say he's an Everton fan.
He's an Everton fan. I said this before the pod. Untrustworthy. That's what makes me think about him. But I'll save that one for later.
Yeah, there's a chain of events in the story of David Nugent. That was the first sign. That was the first sign.
And then he goes to Bury, a team which half our audience will probably hasn't heard of by the time this has been out for years and gets replayed constantly. They'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
it's Bury.
Sad times.
Yeah, it's
very sad times.
He plays. Look at every one of David Nugent's team. They're all teams which used to be a lot better than they are now. with the exception of Leicester.
We're not blaming David Nugent for that, by the way. But, there was a correlation.
Oh, he is a crook, but he doesn't single-handedly liquidate football clubs.
Yeah.
88 games, 18 goals. Bang average stats for a striker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I think we're just going to be saying this for every team we come to.
Bang average podcast.
Yeah, it's just average. Don't know what else you could. David Nugent is just average. Let's see how many times we can say the word average.
If you don't have time to listen to this whole podcast, stop now, because it's just going to be this first bit on a loop, effectively.
Yeah.
David James Nugent, that's his full name.
Oh yeah, middle name. Yeah.
It's funny. Again, David James.
I'm thinking of a word beginning with A.
Right, forget Bury. Then he goes to Preston, as we mentioned. League appearances and goals: 94 appearances, 33 goals. That's a bit better. I think that's his best.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's why he got his one cap, so I suppose it's always going to be his best career stats. But yeah, Preston seemed the right fit for him at the time, and just that kind of striker in the Championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, did well there.
Got the England call up. Because I can only assume now he got the call up for being potential as opposed to being like a young player. They thought he was about to mold him into the next striker.
Yeah, as well, which we see a lot more at the minute. I don't know whether he had any heritage in either Wales, Scotland, or Ireland, and they wanted him to get him tied down for England. I don't know if that was the case. It might not have been the case. Just seemed very weird at that time with the quality England had all over the pitch and up front especially. Seemed weird that he got that one cap.
He started on the bench for England, came on 79th minute. Do you know who he came on for?
No, I know he replaced Darren Bent in the squad. Darren Bent got injured, and that's why Nugent came in, which makes a lot of sense. But no, I can't remember who he came on for. Go on.
Andy Johnson.
Oh, bold Andy.
Yeah, bold Andy.
Yeah,
nice Andy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cause he was on fire at that time.
He shagged goals for a bit, didn't he? He scored lots of goals. And I've always I don't know. I go back and forth on how I feel about David Nugent's goal because every time I watch it, I'm like, those who haven't seen it, why not? This is the pinnacle of this podcast.
Yeah.
But Defoe has a shot late on in the game. It's basically in. It's rolling. It's basically in. Nugent taps it in. Less than a yard. I think if he hit connected with the ball any later, it would have already crossed the line. So it was literally just taps it in.
Yeah, literally part of the ball was over the line. Part of the ball was literally over the line. Yeah. It's one of those goals that I go through varied emotions every time you watch it, because if you're in his position, and he probably knows he's not getting many England caps at this point, so you can only respect it, really. But if you put yourself in Jermaine Defoe's poor old boots, he must have been fuming, I reckon, deep down.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I think Defoe looks fuming in the clip. I think he looks angry.
Everyone goes to celebrate with Jermaine. No one's celebrating. Well,
no.
Most people going towards Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah. It's. I'd probably, if I was in Nugent's position, I'd probably do the same. What can I say?
Yeah, I know. It's. I heard him in an interview say, "England, one cat, one go. That'll do me." And I was like,
yes. Yeah, that was great.
That's the pinnacle of what we're about here.
Proper working man's interview after scoring for England. It's so good. And also untrustworthy for nicking your teammate's goal when it's virtually on the line.
Trustworthy. Yeah.
Strike two.
Do you think I haven't been in contact with John Flanagan because I'm a busy guy and I think so little of him, it hasn't been worth my time or effort. But let's say him and I are to have a boxing match. Undercard, Jermaine Defoe versus David Nugent. Winner gets to claim the England goal.
Yeah. But Nugent would win because that's his career and life on the line, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one cap, one goal. The interview after, he'd come out proper pumped up.
He's also bigger than him.
Yeah. That is a problem.
Maybe they should play on table tennis or something instead, or a game of pool.
Yeah.
I'll figure it. The event isn't happening yet. We'll figure it out. He finishes at Preston at the end of that season. That was end of 2007. Goes to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And he's peaked by this point, effectively, isn't he? Really, this is the peak of his career.
But a big move for him because Pompey were pretty good in that period. Because obviously they won the FA Cup not long after he joined, same season essentially.
I know he's an FA Cup winner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the season he joined. They won it. But I was reading, it's mad. I was trying to get my head around it because it just seemed all over the place. But he signed for Portsmouth, and then they were saying that he nearly left in the same window.
Yeah, he shot himself in the foot, really. Yeah, he literally signed for Portsmouth, long way from home from him. Got the chance to go to Derby, and he's like, "Oh yes, I get to move nearer home." Agrees, not telling Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp just knocks on his door and like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Gives an absolute bollocking. Ends up staying at Pompey, but by then Harry had no relationship, no trust with him. Do you know why? Because he's untrustworthy.
There we go again. That's three. And Redknapp's kind of bloke. Once you get on the bad side of it, you're done, aren't you? I think they played him in the Cups, League Cup, FA Cup a bit, and I think he did score quite a few in the Cups.
I'm not sure. Not league goals. Tally.
Yeah, but he once interesting fact about David Nugent. An average fact about David Nugent is that he didn't score a Premier League goal until 18 months after signing for Portsmouth.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, That's a good segue. Championship strikers, right?
Yeah.
They don't always make the step up to
No.
from the Championship to the Premier League. And okay, the 4 all-time Championship goal scorers, top 4. One's David Nugent, Billy Sharp, Jordan Rhodes, and Ross McCormack. In the Championship, they score, I think, 464 goals ever in the Championship, which is a lot of goals. But do you know how many they scored in the Prem altogether?
Probably an incredibly low figure. 25.
Oh, that's too high. It's 18.
18. I wasn't too far, but yeah. That's it's weird because all 4 of those players are the ones that would come straight to head when you think of brilliant in the Championship, can't do it in the Prem.
Yeah, literally. Apart from, I don't know if McCormack ever played in the Prem.
Yeah, I just thought that, and it's crazy if he didn't, because he was like in top 3 Championship top goal scorers for like 3 or 4 years in a row.
He went to Villa after they were relegated, right? Yes.
Yeah. Because he went Leeds to Fulham. Fulham were in the Championship, and then he went Villa for. It might have been somewhere between. I don't know. It all got a bit blurry with McCormack. But yeah, David Nugent, probably the first example I remember of someone who just wasn't good enough for the Prem, but was a top 6 playoff Championship striker for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's so interesting. Like Mitrovic now, he's just look at his stats for the last 4 seasons. It's just so funny. You just got to stay in the Championship now, Mitro. But the reason I read about this because English players were breaking that trend a bit last season. Like, yeah, Bamford playing, gets an England call up.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins playing.
Gets
an England call up. I said Ivan Toney earlier, even though he might not play for England. He's doing okay, I think.
Yeah. I think another one who nearly fell into that category was Danny Ings, but he's done well for himself now. So
Callum Wilson come through, did it?
Yeah.
So that's good because these 4 players I said are very typical sort of Championship players from 10 years ago.
Yeah,
bang average Championship players who couldn't make the step up, and now we've got players making the step up.
Yeah, that's great to see. It's great to see.
But,
good for England because
yeah. If Nugent were ever to play for a Premier League club now, it'd be Burnley, wouldn't it?
It would.
Which is where he went on loan.
He's already done it.
So after Portsmouth, during his time at Portsmouth, what year did Portsmouth win the FA Cup?
2008, I think.
Okay. Wins the FA Cup at Portsmouth. Has another season there, then goes on loan to Burnley. And this was in the Premier League.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they had. I can't even remember it. I think they might have gone straight back down when they came up, or they might have had 2 seasons in the Prem. But yeah, when Nugent was there, they were in the Prem and they got relegated. I'm pretty sure.
I think they went straight back down because I feel, and my family would correct me on this, Owen Coyle, manager, leaves half season, goes Bolton.
Yeah.
Because they're a sinking ship anyway.
Yeah, because I think they were obviously still in trouble when Coyle left, but they were still picking up wins here and there, and then he left and they just completely capitulated and went down. Yeah.
I never really remember them being off bottom that season. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my memory of it.
Yeah. I just remember him beating Manchester United 1-0 at Turf Moor. Robbie Blake's got a great goal. That's what I remember about Burnley that season.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was early on, and it was either like midweek or like Friday or Monday night. It was definitely a nighttime game in the week. Yeah, they beat them 1-0. Obviously, when they were at the peak of their powers, Man U. So yeah,
Ferguson out banners
they'll always have
appearing the next day.
Yeah.
Load on their season, back to Portsmouth. In fact, was his first Premier League goal against Tottenham?
Yeah.
When Redknapp was manager as Tottenham. Funny.
I think so. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, because it's quite funny. I wonder if he did a big knee slide in front of him. I don't think he did. I'm sure it would have been a constant clip played.
Yeah.
Every year or so if that happened. Yeah, chance missed, David.
Chance missed, DJ. Then he goes to Leicester, where he plays. I said Preston may have been the best form of his career. Leicester maybe up there too, because we got an England call up when he had 15 goals in the Championship season. He then goes and scores 20 goals in one season at Leicester.
Yeah.
Very nearly a Premier League winner. He was only a season off. He left.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and again, it's like all these strikers that do so much to get a team promoted, and then as soon as they do, that's it, because they're not good enough to play in the Prem. And I always feel a bit sorry for him. I feel like if you do get your team there, you deserve a chance, at least. But that's David, eh? That's David Nugent.
Again. Yeah, well, it happened. Same thing with his next club, Middlesbrough, didn't he? Got him promoted, and then played a couple of games and got shipped off again.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one, imagine if he was a Premier League winner. That'd just be so funny. Right?
That'd be great.
And obviously his best mate is Jamie Vardy. He must have been a big part of that Leicester. Do you think? Was he a big part of because they always talk about people talk about Leicester and say how the days of Pearson before Ranieri came on were but are arguably the biggest parts of what created the team that won the league.
Yeah. I think it's just because I think under Pearson, obviously, they had quite a lot of the same players for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Even in the Championship build up to promotion, the season they stayed up. Obviously, there was additions along the way. But there was a lot of players that were there for quite a few years. They obviously formed a pretty tight bond. But a lot of people used to say that like Pearson and Shakespeare were like the genius behind Leicester. Like Ranieri was useless, no one liked it. I don't know. I obviously don't agree with that. Like I hate that. I hated the next season. As soon as things started going wrong, it was all like players turn on Ranieri. Shakespeare was the only glue. Like I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Some people treat it like it's a fucking episode of Mr. Bean, and Ranieri is just bumbling along, but somehow it works out. That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
No.
Fucking screw your head on, But anyway, that's not really relevant to this podcast.
No.
Let's talk about David Nugent being untrustworthy. No, he was all right for the rest. I think I think of him as in a Leicester shirt more than any other team. I think.
Yeah, I think that. I just think this period, Leicester and Middlesbrough, is kind of when like no one's mentioning David Nugent anymore because he just had his head down. He was like consistently scoring goals in the Championship.
Yeah.
As opposed to being a former England one cap trying to make it in the Prem, and he was just a flop. Just got his head down, scored goals, popped up at Ellen Road a couple of times a season. I've probably seen him play so many times, but they all blur into one. So,
well, I probably saw him play that season when Yeovil won the Championship.
Marty Yeovil,
Leicester. Long with the days. Leicester to Middlesbrough, one season in the Championship, does well. They get promoted. He leaves. Then he goes. He finally gets his wish. 10 years later, goes to Derby County.
Boyhood dream come true.
Yeah, Redknapp fuming. He gets his move to Derby. I'm getting paranoid. I don't want to say bang average again, but he's just fucking bang average.
David, give us something to sink our teeth into it, because it was just the same. It was the same as Middlesbrough. Well, no, it probably wasn't quite as good as it was at Middlesbrough and Leicester, but just average, I'm afraid.
You know, at Jamie Vardy's wedding, him and David Nugent and Jamie Vardy got on stage and sang with Westlife.
I didn't know that, but is there a clip? Is there a clip of this?
I don't know. And apparently they do it like I think they do it. I don't know if I can show you on the camera here. I'll try. You know, every Westlife video, not everywhere, when they do it live, they have their chair around backwards like that.
Yeah, they sit.
And they're singing it like that. I think that's effectively how they do it.
Yeah, I bet they had their like suit blazers like over their shoulders as well, or something like that. Oh, brilliant.
Also, does that not fucking show how long he's been about, David Nugent? Westlife.
I know. Westlife at your wedding.
Yeah. Anyone watching this today has just Googled Westlife and Bury FC just to understand what's going on.
Also, a sentence that starts with, "Did you know at Jamie Vardy's wedding?" I bet there is some great follow-ups to that sentence.
I bet there's some people who get nervous at the beginning of that sentence, thinking about some of the dodgy stuff they've seen.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. That's why there's no videos of Westlife and the boys singing.
Yeah. You know. Christ. Right. You got anything to say about Derby? No.
I've got lots of things to say about Derby, but not on this podcast. So no. Again, just Championship mediocrity playing up front for Derby. It doesn't get better than that, does it?
No. But you technically, well, I think I've said it in the podcast. Derby County is an ex-England retirement home nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
David Nugent, I guess he could have called himself one of those ex-England players. Although he hasn't, and I think he's the oldest one cap still playing, but the longest ago his one cap is still playing, 2007. Because I think if you were to put all the one caps in chronological order, 4 of the players we've done are all next to each other. I think 2007 era. We talked about that a lot. Yeah, I think Kirk.
Well, Martin. But that's our era, isn't it? That's
the golden days.
Football. The golden days, yeah. But yeah, where do you go next, Nugent? Tell me.
Back home.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Not even calling bang average. Just a bit shit at this point, really.
Just flat out crap.
I can imagine he's just coming off the bench at this point.
He's just winding down. It's just one of those novelty acts when an old player comes back for a stint at the end of his career, and
it is a bit, mate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's played 2 years there, then he had a loan spell at Tranmere Rovers during that. That was last season. Yeah. Didn't do amazing.
Well, you'd think that'd go better because he's 36 now, so he was 35 last season. There's a lot of 35-year-olds that score a lot of goals in Leagues 1 and 2. But yeah, maybe he just doesn't really care that much anymore. So.
I don't know. He was linked to a move to Doncaster. That's the most recent article I've seen a month ago. Which because he's still playing, even though he's a free, he's still registered. He still wants to play.
Yeah, he's still active, but he's free agent. Yeah,
I think he'll retire now. I think it will happen next week, and it'll be fantastic publicity for this podcast when it comes out. For instance, I think.
Yeah. If Dave could do us a favour here and retire next week,
that would be great.
Clicks and views, that'd be great.
That would be some great baits. Going back to his England cap, I sometimes still can't believe that Steve McLaren was England manager, because I was watching some of these videos of him justifying it, and it just screams of calling up Nugent. It screams of McLaren just getting desperate and just not knowing what he's doing. Just panicking.
It's funny you say that, because I watched the highlights. When I watch the highlights of a lot of these players, I don't think about who's the manager. It kind of just, they always come up on screen after a goal goes in or something. Yeah. So it's great when Nugent scores and then it just cuts to McLaren giving a little. I'm like, of course McLaren was manager. I don't know why I didn't think that at first, but it just makes so much sense.
McLaren was Derby manager. Was he Derby manager when?
Yeah.
Nugent went.
Yeah, I reckon he was. Yeah, it's definitely in that era, and he had 2 spells at Derby. So yeah, I'd think so.
When was Lampard at Derby? Was he there by the end of?
That was the. Let me get this right. That was, I think, the 18-19 season.
Okay, so Lampard would have managed Nugent then.
Yeah.
Derby.
Yeah.
Although they never played together for England, because Lampard sprained his wrist before the Andorra game.
And there we go.
If you're wondering that, you were.
Yeah. To be fair, I saw the lineup. I saw Gerrard play. Scored twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead game. Right. I can't think of a way to shoehorn in the phrase "bang average" or "untrustworthy" again.
No, I think we've reached our expiry date with David Nugent. But yeah,
we had hype over this episode, though. A few people wanted to hear about it.
Yeah. I think it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said before, fantastic one cap. The actual one cap part is brilliant. It's just, there's just his club career was just very middle of the road. But people come here for the one cap, so and you don't get much better than this. So.
People come for the one cap, and I'm thinking this because I'm always going back and forth about how I feel about him tackling the goal. I would if I was Jermaine Defoe, I'd have probably battered him. But if I was in David Nugent, if I was David Nugent, I would have done the exact same thing. You read through what we just read about his career, and we said bang average, bang average, bang average. If he didn't have that England cap, we'd already have forgotten about him.
Yes,
but now, because he touched the ball and moved it an extra inch, in many ways, I'm gonna think about this forever. I'm never not going to think about David Nugent scoring 3 minutes. I think about it without the podcast. I would say I think about it weekly, and that doesn't make me happy to say that. I'm embarrassed to say it, but it's true. It's true. So
he's immortal, mate. He's immortal now.
He is immortal. And he's a free agent who left Preston last season and was on loan on Tranmere. And I was reading a local newspaper about him being rumoured to go to Doncaster, and they still shoehorn it in. They're like, Nugent, who has one game, 1 goal for England, and it's like, yeah, anything that's ever going to be written about him, he's 1-on-1.
That's the memory. Also, can't believe Wayne Rooney's not giving him a bell at Derby. He just come and train from a bit.
Well, I'm sure they'll take anyone at Derby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
play for hot meals at this point if they haven't got any money. Cal, David Nugent. Do you think he deserved his 1 cap? Do you think he was lucky to get it, or do you think he should have got even more?
I'm sorry, David, because you delivered a great England 1 cap, but he should never have got a 1 cap. Let's be honest. And I think this is the one that I'm most certain on with our big questions. Like, for me, there's just no debate. He shouldn't have ever had an England one cap.
Interesting. I am going to say one cap is just right. And I am.
Be serious.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you for 2 reasons. 2. Last episode, I was in touch with Stoke City fans on their podcast, and they even shared our podcast. And then I realised I'd slagged off Shawcross the whole episode. And I think they then deleted the share of our podcast because I think they may have then seen it and then realised I was saying unflattering things. So I want to cover my back on this one. But also, this brings me so much joy. I've enjoyed this, Callum. This has been fun. This has been fun for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that if Steve McLaren didn't have a fucking screw loose.
You're very much picking from the heart here, then.
I am. And
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Watch David Nugent 06-07 goal compilation.
That's a wormhole of the night on YouTube. That. But yeah, in fact, go watch it.
Yeah, I got my tabs open a minute ago, and it was just increasingly obscure football players, starting from David Nugent. Go on, I'll give him it. And if when I get in touch with Preston Podcast, they can back me. And
give us a nice share.
Did you have anything left to add?
No, mate. No, just hope everyone enjoys this podcast. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Get it watched on YouTube.
Hey, how good is it to be back? Hey, I've missed this.
Great to be back, mate. We'll get it going more regularly for sure. Because I just can't wait for the next one already, whoever that may be.
No, well, it won't be Sam Johnston. I'll tell you that.
It won't be Sam Johnson, unfortunately.
Right. That's everything from us this week. Thank you for watching / listening, and we'll be back soon.
Back soon.